actually put Alyssa's "Truth Is Out There" Snapple shot. So cheers to that. Hold on. Yeah. So we had a little bit of a break, but we're back, baby. We're back. I figure maybe do just a quick little recap of where you guys were when we wrapped last time. So you had been doing a lot of great investigation um, ahead of this meeting that or briefing that had been called. You've been called to up in Boston. So you had gone up ahead of the weekend, ahead of the Tuesday session or evening invite at the Gateway. What is it? Gateway Doors restaurant. Let's double check that. But Gateway Bridges restaurant, and
It's sad that none of us chimed in with the correct name, but
yeah, it's been a couple weeks. But you did find a couple things. You did find that the reservation had apparently been made by a Dr. Barbas, who you figured out is or was. It seems a little confused. The director or administrator of the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab. But there seems to be some sort of cloud hanging over his employment, starting a couple months back, and you also did a little bit of investigation into some leads that had been lingering from last time, and Willow in particular had gone out to do a little bit of research on the bibliographic side. Oh, Willow, you're muted, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. There we go.
There's a button on the cord.
There's a button on the cord. That's not for delivering wine through the. Yeah.
PCA pump.
That's right.
Okay, sorry. Please, yes.
By all means.
Keep extolling my contributions.
But you managed to find a bookstore in downtown Boston that perhaps you didn't mean to find or want to find, yeah, or it found you, and you departed, and you were not able to locate it again with your companions. So that I think was what
I wrote down the shop owner said his name was Robert.
That's correct. That is, yeah.
Just wanted to double check that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, in your notes, do you say suspect alias ?
I wrote creepy quote shop owner Robert. Said he had Poppy's copy of the play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all coming back.
Yes, he said his name was B.R. Robert, and you saw that he is.
Found the kids' pajamas that apparently they were supposed to be wearing out.
That always happens. It's like they're left out, and then instead you end up putting them like in a sweatsuit. And it's just like, I mean, I just
that
need
never
to put
happens.
Any pajamas. Sorry. It was helpfully in my office.
It never happens here.
Sorry for the aside.
Alyssa's never like, where did you find these clothes that I was meaning to put away because they are way too small for him?
Like 3 sizes too small.
Why did you put
He's in like
there?
a doll shirt. He comes out of the
little
morning.
sausage.
It was in the back. It was in the back of the closet. I figured he hasn't worn it in a while.
Right.
Get some use out of it.
He said it was fine.
Good shirt.
The 4-year-old said it was comfortable.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So yes, I think that's generally where we had left off. Is you didn't net anything on your search of downtown crossing for the bookshop. And so I think we were basically
Sorry, but
more.
can you remind me? We
Mhm.
went back to try and find it to help her because we still had like more time,
Mm-hmm.
and we couldn't find it. Oh, but then we saw right the message on the.
You saw the message for the encounter
Yes.
That's
group,
why I had
and
my
so I'm
stand.
sharing that now. Yeah, on a stapled to a pole, light pole nearby, the encounter group, and that message there. And
Jacob found the message. Right.
yes, the group had Jacob. You had found that, and Jack, you had made the connection. Tireless Heroes
My
Explorer.
reward was
Uh-huh.
Handsomely rewarded.
Exactly. And you noted as well that the meetings take place on Tuesdays, but you will be otherwise occupied on Tuesday.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do we still have this cork board here? And if so, who held on to it for the 20-year period?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean,
Mm.
I will
You're like
say,
sanity roll.
yeah, right.
You had it, Chris.
Yeah. I have in my notes here, whoever asks about the cork board has to make the cork board sanity roll. No, I mean, I think collectively, Jacob's contributed some of this research that he's done. You, Jack, have a couple of these elements that you've added, but I have to feel like Willow perhaps has been the one who's been a little haunted, in a way by this since the original 1995 McAllister event. So if anyone had the Manila folders stuffed with these clippings to pull right back out again, it's probably her.
That feels right.
Yeah.
Guys, in case it helps.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys,
let's set it
anybody
up.
Want these?
They're like, not the board again. I even brought the red string.
Oh, I absolutely added string.
Yeah.
It's like across the hotel room.
That's right.
But I think we were headed into I can't recall exactly. I think it may have either been Sunday or Monday evening, but essentially we were very close to Tuesday when you were set to meet with your contact for this based on this invitation. So I'll say, if you certainly during the Tuesday during the day, you have some time if you want to use it. Otherwise, we can head straight to the briefing. So if there are any loose ends you wanted to follow up before the meeting, you're welcome. But otherwise, we can sort of fast forward here.
I can't think of anything.
No.
Yeah.
I used up a fair amount of our time last time, so I'm good.
Okay, good. Then we'll go ahead and say that it's Tuesday in the afternoon. The invitation was for, here, I'll put this back up again. Yes, Richard Ziloni's 51st birthday party is set to take place. And when did we determine that is going to actually happen? That is for 8 p.m. was written on the other side. 8 p.m. and this is the 1st of September. So do you just go for 8 p.m.? What's the play here?
So we don't want to maybe. I don't want to suggest split up, but maybe split up to check out the St. Jude Church in Dorchester. Sorry, is Potash Street in Dorchester too?
It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seems like we could check out the beginning of that meeting before like zooming over or splitting up. What do the two of you think?
Don't split up.
Yeah.
You're all going to go together.
I'm reluctant to at this point, I think.
Do we think if they're both in Dorchester, maybe we could just taxi from one to the other, at least to see if. No?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
It seems like so you map it out, and you think that at most it's probably like a 15-minute drive. Um, the restaurant is sort of a little more South Dorchester or Southwest Dorchester, and the restaurant's more kind of up closer to Bridges on the southeast side. So it's not that far, like 10-15 minutes.
I don't sense a lot of enthusiasm to China. Should we stay on mission with the restaurant?
We could do a quick jaunt. I think I'm apprehensive after my last jaunt, but I could be talked into it. So.
Well, if we all go together, then
That's true.
hopefully at least better safety in numbers. Maybe not complete safety in numbers, as we learned.
There's safetier in numbers,
Safetier
as the
in
saying
numbers,
goes.
Yep.
Let's try.
All
Let's
right.
try.
So let's. I think we can get there right for the beginning of that meeting.
Yeah, so you head over, and this particular church. Let me just get this.
It's not the sound that you usually hear when you go into your typical church.
St. Jude Church. It's starting to be it's getting close to 7 p.m. and at this point, September, the daylight still goes for a while, so it's still fairly light out, even if it's starting to dim a little bit. And you say St. Jude Church is just another one of these, slightly tarnished like Catholic parishes that still sort of scrubbed for the most part, fresh paint here and there, but has definitely seen better days, and sort of beyond the immediate lawn areas filled with crabgrass here and there. There's sort of slightly dingy piles of cigarette butts and refuse left behind. And you see that there is another one of these encounter group flyers that is duct taped up to the archway that leads down to what must be the basement. And you know that so many of these places, right? They have that public use space in the usually in basement areas, and otherwise the new cars going by, a couple people walking up and down the street, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Oh, sorry. Can I ask? Masks provided. Is that? I mean, for 2015, that would be confusing to us. Is that random, or is that?
Matt, yeah, no,
I don't know what that's about.
You don't know what that is, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. No idea.
Things I ask after we've already walked in.
Like, I have a follow-up.
By the way,
Pardon me.
Just one more thing.
where it says swords, does that mean like real swords? Like,
Now, what exactly do you mean? Yeah, so you're watching, and you don't see anyone coming in and out.
Should we case the joint?
if it's 7, we do have a tight time frame, so
You said it's like 15 minutes?
Yeah, at
It
most.
was about 15 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We don't have much time to poke around.
You want to wait till like 7:05, and then even if nobody shows up, we'll just go in and see what's
Yeah.
going.
Let's give it a fiver.
Okay. Yeah, so let's say you showed up there, you showed up there early, right? Maybe 6:30ish. And as it's maybe quarter to, you notice maybe one or two people. This woman in a hoodie head in. You see another man, nondescript guy, middle-aged guy go in, and then you see a teenager, the backpack, head in. So you see a couple people going down the stairs, and then it gets to be 5 minutes to 7. One person rushes in, and it gets to be 7, and the church bell rings, tolls 7 o'clock.
Let's go in.
Oh, God.
All right.
But meanwhile, Jacob's already disappeared apparently.
So you,
he was just attending to something.
yeah, no worries. So you go in, down the steps, and right inside the entrance, there's this little sort of portico area, sort of inside the door, down to the basement. You go down the steps, and there's a little entryway. There's another set of double doors heading into the common area. But there's a table, like a folding table, that's been set up, and there's a person standing there wearing this long silver robe, sort of cheap fabric, the hood pulled up, and this paper mache mask of an expressionless white face. And from behind the face, you walk in, and there's a moment where you're just staring at this mask, and then you hear, "Are you here for the meeting?"
Yes, we are. We were told that masks would be provided.
Oh, yeah. And you think this is a man. There's a big cardboard box on the table that has some writing across the side, sort of stamped in, and pulls out 3 sets of these long silver robes, the same type that he appears to be wearing, made of this synthetic material, and hands one to each of you, and then hands each of you a paper mache mask, each identical, from this waxed cardboard box that also bears this like stamped lettering on it. And you feel the paper mache of these masks, it feels a little damp, as if they've been newly made. And then the figure sort of gestures, kind of, you gotta put them on, they're gonna start soon.
Damp but not sticky, right?
Maybe a little bit tacky, but not like not like ridiculously so. Not dripping.
Come for the tacky masks, but stay for the mumbled speech.
Exactly. And Jacob, you notice something as you're standing there. It's hard not to, even though the text is sort of upside down backwards. You notice the text on the boxes is in Cyrillic,
Okay.
and appears to be Russian.
Can I try to read it?
Yeah, so you can kind of cock your head and look at it, and the text says, "Stalingrad Tractor Factory 3, named for Jezerski."
Isn't that the factory where they had the battle that I found out about?
Yep.
That's not good.
Oh no.
It does a little twitch, right? I remember that.
Yeah. So the cardboard box. I mean, the box looks new, but is stamped with this label of the Dzernsky Tractor Factory from Stalingrad.
Hmm. It's only been a couple minutes at this point, right?
Yep.
Because we said we were gonna. I don't know. How long are we gonna hang out?
Does he try to mumble and tell us what he read?
You guys need to hurry up if we're gonna go in. They're gonna do the chime soon.
All right, we'll go. I'll go in.
All right. Does somebody have a watch? Are we keeping a close eye on this? We all have smartphones at this point, right?
Right, we have smartphones.
Okay,
Yeah.
smartphones.
Smartphones, wicked smartphones.
All right, we're gonna go in for a little bit.
All right, so you put on these synthetic robes. You sort of fit on the mask and pull up the hood, and these do for sort of paper mache and and cheap robes. They actually do a good job of sort of obscuring and anonymizing you, even to each other. And just like the height differential alone kind of gives it away, but you are surprised by how well these obscure your identities. You head through the doors, and you see that there is there's a ring of seats set up in a circle in the other room. And the lights are low, and there are a couple, there are a handful of other people milling around wearing the masks and the robes, and maybe one or two seem like they're chatting with each other, but the rest are kind of have mostly found seats at this point. And when you walk in and the doors swing shut and click behind you, a gong sounds, and everyone at that moment, their attention snaps to the circle, and everyone except for you three goes over and sits in the chairs. And one of the figures, sort of seeing you standing, sort of gestures to 3 empty chairs around the ring.
I'll sit down.
That's it, yeah.
And once you're seated, the gong sounds again. Gong. And one figure, you can't even tell who, around the ring says, "Say the things we cannot say elsewhere." And the group around you, "The truth leads us. Find ourselves to know ourselves. Truth makes us," answers the group. "Become the rulers of our own lives. Truth frees us." Say what you will. And the gong, gong, and the lights go out. And you are immediately greeted by the sound of people moving around you. And with the exit lights around the room, as your eyes adjust, you can barely make out that there are these silhouettes of robed, masked figures frantically moving from chair to chair, switching spots. And you even notice at one point, like a person sits and then they immediately get back up and continue to move. And you feel sort of hands on your shoulders, sort of urging you to get up and to move around the circle and find a new seat.
All right, so I will try to, and this is stupid, but try to get up and go over to where I saw, say Willow, and try and take her seat. She's
Make an alertness roll at -20.
-20.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It's dark, and people are moving, and everyone looks the same. But you manage. You kept your
He's
eyes.
so alert. He's so alert.
Kept your eyes
Hostage
glued on
rescue.
Willow.
Like
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Situation.
And you're able to sort of track where she is, so you can go over to where she was seated, and you sort of recognize that that's probably her, the sort of slighter figure who's just been urged to get up out of her seat.
All right, so I'll try to grab the seat beside her.
Okay.
One of the two.
Yeah. So you see Willow, you see this figure come over, and you have no idea who it is, but you're sort of standing up, and they come over, and they're sort of pressing you back down into the seat.
Is there sound at this point? We're just hearing people moving
You're just
around.
hearing the
There's
shuffling.
No, like, vocalizing.
No.
Luckily, we worked out the prearranged double tap on the shoulder.
That's right. We definitely did. We made a plan
Remember
just
that?
outside the door. I remember it was a double tap on the shoulder.
Always be prepared. No.
That's right.
Go ahead.
So you said, Jacob, you were sort of ushered up. Do you sort of freely go and sit in a different seat?
I try to stay with them if I can, but I
Make an alertness roll at -20.
Yep.
Come on, Jacob. You're very alert.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Oh no!
You are pretty
It's
sure
so dark.
you're pretty sure you know where Jack is. He's relatively tall, like you have a good idea of where he is. So you're able to get across the room and you sort of seat yourself next to him.
But
And you sit and
He gives him the double tap.
you sit down and you're surprised because the figure next to you, this tall person you think is Jack. After everyone sits, there's this moment of silence, and one of the lights is brought back up. So it's just sort of spotlighting the center of this circle. And after a moment, the figure you believe is Jack says, I saw my bottle last night. It was in a dream, but I know it's real. You find it, and you open it, and it tells you things. And a moment of silence. And Willow, someone next to you, says, they're making a building of books downtown. I don't know why. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But they stack them and they glue them together, and there are windows and everything. I haven't gone inside yet. I need to work up to it. I need the courage to go inside, but I just don't know. And they brought the kid in when I was attending. I had like a moment with him when the EMTs dropped him. He was bleeding out, like internally, so I opened him up and there was nothing there. I mean, he was empty. No organs, no blood, nothing. But, like, it all worked out. When the nurses got back, they were back. Like, the organs were back. Anyway, he died. If you know what to ask them, statues can talk, do you know? Can you imagine being around for 1,000 years? They're always watching and waiting. They've seen lots of things. Like, they've seen it all. And Willow, right next to you, the person you are like pretty sure is Jack, you can't be positive, says, I dreamt about this stuff last night again. The Patsu. It's like a liquid, I guess. It's red, but like cooking grease. And it comes from secrets. It comes and goes and comes and goes, vanishing and coming back from somewhere else, like a tide. And if you drink it, you go there too. And someone across the way, Willow, someone whose voice you recognize, has anyone read the whole book? I mean, the play. What happens at the end? I lost my copy. No, nobody tell me. I don't want to know yet. And you know in your heart of hearts that it's Poppy.
Who wanted to come to the meeting?
And I was just saying those things to blend in, by the way. I don't believe any of it.
Oh, that's is gonna shake me. I'm shook.
And it continues on for a couple more moments. And there's sort of this pregnant pause. And it comes around, and you see that sort of the masks are facing in your direction, Jacob. Do you say anything? Someone next to you kind of nudges you and leans over and says, tell them about the hotel. Come on.
Okay. So I went to a hotel. I forget the name of it, but I personally forget it. But
Broadleben. Hotel Broadleben.
It wasn't there.
And the person who's next to you leans over and whispers again. I've dreamt about it too. The bellhop told me there are tunnels in the basement. And then the masks turn toward you, Jack. Do you say anything?
I dreamt that the king is coming.
You hear a couple people sort of exhale loudly, like the mask, like. And as one, you hear everyone around the circle. The king, he comes. You aren't sure if it's the voices of the people around, the circle, or the voices are coming from outside the circle of light? And the masks turn toward you, Willow.
I went to a bookstore that wasn't there. But Robert was.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
it. That's all I say. And leave it. And leave them wanting more.
And at that point, you see that there is this figure with a white mask sort of walking around the perimeter of people in the circle. And the figure reaches out and touches one person on the shoulder, and they stand up and walk out of the circle. Continues walking and touches another person on the shoulder, and they stand up. And they walk out. Again and again and again, until there are 3 people left in the circle. And the figure disappears. And the lights click on. And you take off your masks, and it's 7:45.
We're not good undercover cops.
And the 3 of you,
7:45.
Undercover creeps, I mean.
and the 3 of you are sitting there in the basement of the church.
Do you think they knew?
And no one else is there. So each of you, roll sand for me.
We gotta get an Uber, y'all.
Now, sand, is that like a new thing? Is it sanitation?
Sanitation. Right? How clean are you today?
And that's my reward for that.
Yeah.
Don't tempt the fate.
Oh.
So Jack and Willow, you each lose 1.
Okay.
But I have good news for you.
And by good, you mean...
I mean, each of you, Jacob included, roll 1d4.
By accident, instead of 25, I typed 225, and I like to think that's how sane I am right now, is 225 points.
Maybe move the mic away from your mouth.
All right. Willow, did you get a 1d4?
No, hang on.
Everyone else is rolling fire on 1d4s.
Well, you know what that means.
Big old one coming through. Oh, okay.
Ew, there you go.
You each actually get back that amount of sanity. Each of you, for sharing in the circle, there's this feeling of disquiet that part of you feels for having experienced and sort of heard and seen what you did there, but at the same time for sharing your experience. And doing so, at least in part authentically, you have this sort of almost euphoric feeling as if a weight has been slightly lifted. So regain back your D4's worth of sanity.
Excellent.
Interesting. Well.
All right, we gotta scramble now. Do we?
Yeah, let's try and get back.
On, or do we?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get out of these robes and stuff.
I think I'll
Take
try
a
to
mask
take.
with us?
Yeah, I think I'll try to. We'll take at least one, right? To
Mhm.
see if we can.
I think so, yeah.
Maybe just one.
Yeah. We don't
I'm
all
not taking mine.
up to the dinner wearing the
I
same.
go like this, not it.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, I'll take it.
All right, great. So you hang on to that.
We jump in a cab and try and zoom.
Yeah, and zoom over. Yeah, it actually only takes you about 8 minutes at this point in the evening. Like traffic is light,
Phew.
and you pull up, and it's still maybe 5 minutes to 7, but getting
Sorry,
close.
quick question: was I actually seated next to Willow, or did like when the lights came up and we took our masks off?
Yes, you were.
And Jacob was like, "I wonder who that guy was."
Yep, exactly. A little bit jarring. But yeah, you pull up outside of the Gateway Bridges restaurant. It's almost 8 o'clock, and it seems like the parking lot is pretty full, relatively full, and there's some people out on the terraced patio, and you see some people coming in, coming out.
I think with no time to spare, if the consensus is we go right in, let's go right in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. You walk in. Let's see, Jack. I think Jacob. What's your alertness?
44.
44. And Jack, yours is like, let's say, a bit higher, right?
Hopefully. I think I would have eaten a bullet by now if it wasn't, but
Yeah. 62. Yeah. So as you're walking in, Jack, you notice that there is a let's see. There is a like a Ford Escape that's parked right near the entrance that has a Massachusetts State Police sticker and parking permit for Massachusetts State Police, overlaid with a bunch of other similar stickers. And so, knowing what you have, what Jacob had shared previously about Dr. Barbas, you recognize that this is probably his car.
good.
Okay. So you head inside, and there's a sign inside the entrance, sort of what you call a foam core board with a piece of paper printed up and sort of taped to it. Private function, Richard Zaloni birthday, with an arrow pointing toward where the larger party or private room is.
All right, let's
do it.
Yeah. So you go in, and the hostess greets you and actually recognizes you from the other day. Says, "Oh, welcome back, welcome back. Yeah, right over here. You're only only 4 guests so far, but I guess the party's going to start anyway. Still waiting for the guest of honor, I suppose." And she leads you over, and you see as she opens the door and escorts you in that it's this larger room that has a table with about 12 chairs around it, sort of a buffet to one side where some food has been put out, and a 60-something African American man who is waiting there. And I'll give you his picture. And he's sort of sitting off to the side against the table, or with sitting off to the side at the table, sort of bouncing his fingers on the table and humming to himself. And when you come in, he sort of gives a start and stands up quickly. "Oh, yes. Come in. Sit, settle in. And the hostess says, a doctor, and he goes, we're good, we're good. We're good. And she nods and leaves and closes the door. uh, uh, get some food or some water if you want.
Don't mind if I do.
You do see the famous calamari
Exactly.
Who's been
is
waiting
on the
for
sideboard, along with some fried ravioli and
All over it.
yep, exactly, beautiful.
Can't face this on an empty stomach.
Yeah, and uh, he says, I'm Agent Vance. Let's see. Elm, right? And Eddie?
Eddie. Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's right.
Ezra? All right. Good. Uh, this is all of you. Yes. This is all of you. You notice as you, Jacob, as you sort of pass by, because you have to kind of get closer to him to get to the buffet. Vance kind of has a little bit of an odor of like oil and gasoline and like a little bit of bo, but like heavy oil and gasoline.
Okay.
And make an alertness check for me. He is kind of sitting back down as you're over at the buffet table, and you hear um, as he sits himself back down that as he moves, there's this like subtle noise of crumpling paper, as if he's like, got some papers in his pocket or something like that. But it's noticeable. You do see that he has this file folder and a briefcase next to him on the floor, and he waits for you to grab a plate and some water. And you can see he's still kind of like tapping with his fingers on the tabletop. And when you come back and sit down, he says, "So this is India Moon. The operation is India Moon, and we need you to locate some former operatives of our group. They've gone missing. They had been under the care of a psychiatric facility here in Boston that has deep connections to our organization. And these are patients who have been committed there for some time, but they've gone. They each went missing on the 28th of August. And he pauses for a moment, and he says, morning rounds revealed that they had disappeared from their rooms. The police have not been alerted, but the group is quite insistent on getting them found. And he passes over a piece of paper out of the file. These are their names. And Willow, do you want to read those?
Let me pull it up. Albert Willtown. Is that a J?
Yeah,
Jira
Jira.
V. Stark. And Bess
Choja.
Choja?
Mm-hmm.
Or Choha? Not
Yep.
sure. Okay, interesting.
And he says, those are the agents who are missing. Before they were incarcerated, each of them had come into contact with a book that's known to have unnatural properties. It goes by many titles, but specifics are restricted by the group. The recovery of said book during this operation is to be reported, and barring cursory examination for title and author, any such book is not to be read. It is to be turned over to me immediately.
Sorry, did
Yep.
you give any additional? What was the name of the book?
Additional information is restricted.
How will we know it when we see it?
He sort of narrows his eyes. You'll know it. If you don't already.
We've come in contact with a few books that...
So it's not A World Without Doors?
He doesn't react to that. He pulls a card out of his file. Dr. Dallin is the director of the facility. Here's his card. He's expecting you.
Okay.
And he also says, if you find the book, if you find anything else that you need to report, out of his briefcase he pulls this ancient looking satellite phone. And he says, he sort of stamps it on the table and pushes it across. The group can be contacted securely by pressing *616 on the phone. But communications should be kept to a minimum. There's also the matter of this, and he pulls one last piece of paper out of the file in front of him. It looks to be a large, like the backing of a photographic paper. And he slides it across the table to Ezra. Despite your squid fingers, pushes over in your direction, and he says, "You were selected for this because of the history here." And Ezra, you flip over the photo. This was found on the wall of one of these cells. And you flip it over, and it appears to be lines of text that have been written, scrawled on a wall, in a copious amount of what you believe is dried human blood over the top of taped newspapers. Jacob, if you could read that.
Abigail Wright has gone to sea, crossed the waves to rescue me. In a ship both tall and fine, she rounds the corner marking time.
And you slide it over to Jack, and Jack, you pick it up and look at it. And it says, Vic Getty has gone to sea, crossed the waves to rescue me. In a ship both tall and fine, he rounds the corner marking time. and you slide it to Willow.
Mm.
And Willow, you look at it. Poppy Barnett has gone to sea, crossed the waves to rescue me. In a ship both tall and fine, she rounds the corner, marking time.
By the way, did you, Willow, tell us that you could have sworn you heard your sister's voice in that meeting?
Yeah, I probably would have. I would have mentioned it. Although I think I probably would have said I must have misheard, but it sounded so much like it. It couldn't possibly be.
So Agent Vance gave us this message. He's still there, right? We're looking at this picture, right?
Yep.
I pass it back to him and ask him what he thinks it says.
It's the message that was left on the wall. What do you mean? He narrows his eyes looking at you. What's the problem?
Why would this talk about Vic Getty?
Who's Vic Getty?
It doesn't talk about Vic, it talks about my sister.
No, it doesn't. It talks about Abigail.
He looks at Jack, he looks at you and Willow, and he looks back at Jacob. And sort of squints again. He picks it up and looks at it. Turns it around. Puts it on the table. Taps. Abigail Wright. This was your operation. Operation Alice. You never found the girl, did you?
Nope.
Maybe you should have brought in the D team instead of the E team.
By the way, Ezra, your fingers are very like covered in crumbs and like marinara sauce, and you are sort of reaching for napkins nearby, and you pull a napkin over, and it's sort of a nicer grade white paper napkin, but it's been done up a little bit because it has the initials of the restaurant on it, GBR, Gateway Bridges Restaurant.
For a second, I thought you said GTR.
And you recognize the napkins because you 20 years ago found a similar set of napkins in Abigail Wright's apartment.
Okay.
Scrawled with diagrams and images of impossible machines.
Oh. Can we see those on the... Are they on the board?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Oh, GBR. Oh.
Where is that? Sorry.
Right underneath the images of the McAllister.
Yeah.
All diagrams. Yep.
The right-hand side of the board.
But it's also in the like the list of things. You can find the diagram.
I see. Yep. Yeah, I see.
Interesting.
So, if I could get Jacob from you, if I could get a sand roll, and from Jack and Willow, one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been great if there were like crumbs on the diagrams.
Crumbs through the ages.
There was a small red marinara stain.
Like, wait a second.
You weren't sure that there weren't.
Okay, you said sanity.
Easy come, easy go.
Merg.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, Willow, you're good on this. You get a pass despite your failure because
No, thanks.
you are adjusted to helplessness.
Adjusted to helplessness?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Because of her run-in with her captor many years
You're like, this
ago,
is just par for the course. This is
basically.
That's right.
So,
Okay.
Jacob, take a 1-point ding, please. As you're sort of holding this napkin, shaky fingers, looking at it, and you're having these momentary flashbacks to being inside that darkened apartment 20 years ago, feeling the same paper between your fingers, and the sense of deja vu just washes over you. Vance says, enjoy the rest of the appetizers. If you need additional assistance, you have the phone. And he stands up and sort of starts collecting his briefcase. And each of you now can hear sort of the crinkling of the paper on his person.
But it doesn't. We don't think it's like a. Remember that was a paper blood that came out of that. We're not having flashbacks to that sort of. Thing.
No paper blood spilling out of him.
Just wondering, Agent Vance, what's that in your pocket?
My pocket. He reaches over and sort of pats his pocket, and you hear sort of a crumpled paper. Nothing in my pocket. Nothing.
Does anyone have pickpocketing skills?
He gets. You can tell he has like this sort of rim of sweat across the top of his head. Have a good luck on your operation, and he starts to head to the door.
Do we stop him and try to get the papers?
Something wrong. Like, something wrong? Like what?
What are you not telling us?
What was supposed to happen tonight? Just this meeting?
What? This is the briefing. This is the mission. If you have questions, you can take it up with. And he sort of nods his head toward the phone. Very well. And he turns back again. And puts his hand on the door and pauses for a moment, then turns and looks. If you find the book, don't read it. And he quickly opens the door and heads out.
Is he close enough? Can we ask him if he's read the book?
You can chase after him.
All right, Vance.
Mm-hmm. You rush out the door, and you're going, Vance. Are you yelling after him about the book?
Yeah.
He turns and he has this scared look in his eyes, and he runs to the front door of the restaurant. Do you chase after him?
Yeah.
I'll follow.
You chase him out into the.
We have a sense there's something
lobby.
Something off, so we're gonna.
And he he is like hurriedly like clicking unlock on his car and like climbing in with his briefcase, and he's saying, "No questions, no questions. Questions are for the phone. Questions are the phone. I've told you what I know." And he's closing the door of the car. What are you doing?
Vance, this book. Have you read it? Have you seen it?
He is revving the engine. He's looking at you, and he has this terrified look in his eye, like as if you were saying something terrible and dark to him. And he quickly puts the car into reverse and screeches backwards out of the parking lot, nearly clipping a car that was going by, which lays into its horn. And he speeds off in a cloud of exhaust.
What about the book?
You shout as the hostess has come out, like with the phone. She's wondering what's going on. She's like, "Is everything okay? What's going on?"
Come on, this is Dorchester. This happens.
I know, right?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Typical for a Tuesday.
Great party, great party.
Yeah, right. A Polish birthday.
Is the SUV still there?
No, he took off in the SUV.
Okay, the one with the sticker.
Yeah, that was the one he drove. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So yes, you have
Right.
this information. You have the operation to locate or find out what happened to these patients, these individuals at the Dorchester house.
I assume that we go back inside, eat some more hors d'oeuvres, and
Right.
talk about what we've.
I mean, if it's been paid for, you assume it's been paid for. Hopefully, it's been paid for. There isn't a bill
Might as
that comes
well.
Maybe
in.
that was just a chew and screw situation.
Yeah. No, the hostess comes by and says she hopes everything is okay, but she says if the doctor's gone, then he paid for this, but anything else will have to go on your tabs. But you want to put in an order for the bar?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So you stay. You have some drinks. The calamari is actually quite great. It's worth the positive Yelp reviews. And yeah, you have the names, and you know that Dr. Dahlin at the Dorchester house is the one who is meant to be your contact there.
All right. So, I guess we compare notes a little bit, but then we'll give him a call first thing in the morning.
Yeah, because it's late at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. It is.
And it's a Tuesday. All right. Regroup in the morning. Anyone want to look for some bookstores before bed?
Like 10 p.m. probably.
Yes. When I like to go out and look.
Who's hanging on to the satellite phone?
Jacob Walt.
Jacob holds on. Yeah,
Nice.
it actually has sort of bundled up next to it. There's this 9-volt adapter and a charging cord. But you see that you sort of flip, you punch hold the button to turn it on. You see that it's already about halfway charged.
Should we try it just to see
616 and
what
see,
we get? Yeah. Because he kept just referencing back to the phone. Do we want to find out what's on the other end now or wait?
What are we gonna ask him if, or
No, like,
say if we call?
hey.
Well, I think
Hey,
we
Who's
what's
there?
up?
Hey,
Something wrong
you
with
tried the
eight.
calamari?
Hey, girl.
I think we could say Agent Vance didn't give a lot of details. He seemed terrified. Is there anything else we need to know, or something like that, right? Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious after he kept.
Based on how he was acting,
Yeah.
it would be maybe good to test out the phone before it came to the point where we were like calling in the midst of an emergency. I don't know.
Yeah, Jacob, what do you think? Do you want to call or do you want to wait?
I personally would wait, but just to raise the drama of that moment.
Okay, we could wait. We could wait. I'm just curious. I'm expressing a curiosity with the satellite phone.
Yeah, and you look at it and you see that you're sort of looking it over. It is, like I said, this bulky, like incredibly out of date phone. It must be from the 90s.
1995.
And it was manufactured by Sear Incorporated, Seere, Sear Incorporated, and marked with a brand logo of Pegasus.
I don't remember ever seeing that before. Or do we? I mean, hopefully there's nothing that doesn't jog any memories from the going through the apartment. I remember there was a like really old-fashioned radio thing, but there was no.
It was military radio.
I think I'd expressed the thought.
Yeah.
Like, Vance seemed terrified. He smelled gasoline. He handed us the picture that we all read differently, which might be on us, but and then he gives us this phone, which I'm sure we all remember that there was some bizarre time issues, and then the first thing he gives us is a phone from the 90s, like that. But then again, you think he knew that our call signs basically. So for what that's worth, I just think we should be careful. I don't know if we can rely on this phone or the situation. So
Yeah.
You probably can't.
all right, so I think we retire and then call in the morning.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah. Let's hang on to it for now, I guess.
What sort of arrangements do you have? Have you sort of gotten like a motel room? Do you have like different rooms? What's the
Well, because we've
situation?
been there for a few days, right?
You have, yeah.
I think we all tried to stay at the same hotel, right?
Yeah.
So probably as close to each other as we could sort of
Managed
arrange.
to get, yeah. So let's say, would you all do separate rooms? Jack and Jacob, Willow, would any of you sort
Yeah, I
of
think so.
share the double bed?
They just all have adjoining doors, so you can just go
Right through.
just right through.
Right. So that night,
Charging the phone, by the way.
you're charging the phone. Okay, great.
Nice.
You plug it in, and it pops on again. And every time it boots up or turns on. It has this 3-tone starting signal. Bang, bang, bang. And
Oh, nice.
that's sitting there, and you see the little bar go. And Willow, that night you have dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You're laying in bed, and you wake. At least you think you're awake. And laying in bed, The only light you see is the light coming in from under the door from out in the hallway. And you're laying there and laying there. And suddenly you see the shadow of 2 feet coming and standing right in front of your door. And you feel like the gap's not big, but you feel like you can catch the barest glimpse of the whiteness of the shoes against the yellow light out in the hallway and the red of the carpet. And you hear this sort of whistled tune that this person seems to be making out in the hallway. And then you hear these words: "Let the red dawn surmise what we shall do when this blue starlight dies and all is through." Night, Willow. And the feet move off.
Was it a male, female?
A male voice, a youngish voice.
It was the salesman.
Shoes.
And the next morning you wake up, Willow, you didn't sleep particularly well.
Not great.
Not great.
Not great.
But, this particular place, maybe it is a Hotel 8 or something, they do have a complimentary continental breakfast. So, at least there's that.
So at least there's that.
At least there's that.
No solid brunch, but
Right.
There's those cereal dispensers, though. That's not
Exactly. So you're just kind of sitting out there in the light, and it is a very sunshiny day. Yeah, coming through the dirty.
But I
windows.
remember that pretty
Vividly.
vividly. Okay. Nice. Good start to the day.
I slept very well because the mask blocked out all the light. So
That's right. Jack was sleeping on top of the covers, wearing the robes and the mask on top of his face, completely normal. It's just a
Based on
normal
the level of drool in the mask, I was like, oh, that's probably why it was damp.
It was already tacky. I mean, yeah, obviously. It's a full face sleep mask. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And you sort of regroup, and you mentioned that you were going to try and call Dr. Dahlin.
And again, do you tell us the white shoe singing person that called out your name?
Yeah.
I think that's good. No, I think that's good. Just to.
I think I would mention it. I think I'd ask if anybody else had trouble sleeping. I'd say I have the weirdest dreams. The white shoes. You guys remember the white shoes?
I do.
Yeah, I saw them. They were outside my door. It was so vivid.
Just a dream. Just a
Hmm.
Hopefully just a dream, but with that and the phone and things, it's adding up a little bit to you thinking you heard Poppy. Like, this is adding up to being maybe connected to our prior experience, maybe. So yeah, let's call Dr. Richard.
Dr. Richard Dahlin. Yeah, so you call the number on the card. Let's say it's, I don't know, what time do you call?
Right at 9, maybe.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a rings through, and there's Dorchester House.
Can we speak with Richard Dahlin, please?
Dr. Dahlin. Yeah, may I tell him who's calling?
Jack Travern. You may not know who I am.
Sure. Just a moment. It rings off, and then there's like the little bit of music in the background, and you know, as you're sort of waiting for Dolan to come back on, and just sort of lightly playing.
It's our favorite.
I put it on speaker because I'm certainly not experiencing this by myself.
You put it on speaker, and the moment you do, Dr. Dolan, Dr. Richard Dolan, Mr. Traven, was it?
Yes, I've actually been assigned to look into the apparent disappearance of a couple of patients or a few patients.
Let me stop you right there. I think that's a conversation best had here, Mr. Traven. We do not have any missing patients, Mr. Traven. But I understand if you have some questions you need to ask, then best to be done here at the at Dorchester House itself.
Excellent. When you have availability, we could be there as early as 9:30.
Yeah. So the guardhouse goes on duty at 10. So let's see. If you want to come by, then I can make sure that your information is left there, and they'll be sure to buzz you through. Why don't I have the head nurse, Esther Samagina? She's gonna meet you when you get here. You're gonna be here at 10, you said?
Yes, we'll be
All
right
right.
now.
All right, Nurse Samagina will show you through and bring you up, and I will see you then.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and he click.
I need to BRB. Can you guys get some more cereal for a sec?
Mm-hmm.
Don't do anything exciting.
Well,
No
that's the
thrilling.
thing. We're sick of the cereal, and we're like trying to get eggs.
The eggs, yeah. Well, maybe they have one of those fancy pancake or waffle makers that has like the dispenser with it. I don't know.
All right, so I'll spend the next 5 minutes trying to figure out
How to get it to work, right? It had a little sign on it that said out of order, but you're trying to tinker with it to make sure that's
Right, I'm sure I can figure this out.
that's right. It's like I saw a story about McDonald's ice cream machines and how notoriously prone to breaking they are because they're such high-tech machines. They need to be disassembled and cleaned just so, and then put back together just so, which is a difficult thing to do when you have whoever going through the process on any given night. So yeah, it's a little bit like that. But maybe a little bit simpler. You
Actually,
think you can get it working?
I'm a big fan of strawberry shakes from McDonald's, so I've been on the receiving end of those malfunctions.
The out of order machines. Yeah.
Like, how is that possible? Or they're out of the strawberry stuff, which, doesn't that keep forever?
This pertains to Alyssa's interest. We were talking McDonald's ice cream.
Absolutely. Hot fudge sundae, peanuts.
That's right.
Thumbs up.
All right. So
thumbs up.
That's right. So you folks are heading over to the Dorchester House.
Let's do it.
Excellent.
Yep.
Are we gonna try? Where do we stand on the satellite phone? We gonna hold it?
I got it with me, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Bringing it with us. Okay, good. Charged up.
Maybe we can threaten the doctor with it if he's not sharing it. Don't make us make a phone call.
Right. Jacob,
I thought you meant like hit him with it because it's so large and so it.
That'll be the last straw.
Okay.
Jacob, when you disconnected it this morning after charging it overnight, you see that the battery is like shot because it still is only charged about halfway.
Of course.
So you did your best.
Sorry, but it's carrying half a charge, or
It's
is
carrying half a charge, yeah.
All right.
So you, you hop in a car, take an Uber over to. Are you? Do you have a rental, or are you taking? Is there? God, this is dating me. When did this ride share? You take a taxi.
Yeah, like I don't have those kind of apps on my phone. Come
No,
on.
exactly. I was gonna say, surely not.
Metro, isn't that the one we always used to take?
Yeah, the Metro cab.
Metro cab, yeah.
Yeah, they'll get you around. Although in Dorchester, it's probably some like really old, like blue cab or something like that.
And it's
City
just
cab.
the right level of unfriendliness and
The driver's seat is like almost prone with how like reclined it is with the driver there.
Nice.
So yeah, he gets you over to the you say Dorchester House. Dorchester House. Okay, you got it, Chief, and off you go. And
Which one of us is chief?
all of you are Chief
We're all
collectively.
chief. All
We're
right,
all
chiefs.
And off you go, and you it takes you over to this you see the gate, and you see the fence, tall like black iron fence with these sort of very sharp spikes at the top. But this old facility has to be at least a century old because you can see the building kind of up on a hill. And there's this gatehouse that has these two security guards at it. And sort of one remains inside, one comes out to greet the driver of the cab. And Jack, you in particular, sort of you recognize professionals, right? And these two aren't just average like rent-a-cops. They are like they must be ex-police, ex-military. They just by the bearing and the way they handle themselves, and the seriousness with which they sort of take your IDs in, check them, come back out, hand them back, and then and only then sort of buzz you through. And the gate opens, and there's this driveway that winds up from the gatehouse to the main entrance. You can see it's this large E-shaped building, and from up on the hill, you can kind of go up and you can see I-93 off to the side, and the Dorchester Shores Reservation, this dog park that used to be a landfill and now it's sort of done over park area, and you get the sense as you're actually going through the gate, you can see cameras and motion sensors on these outer grounds, and sort of larger spotlights, sort of floodlights that are affixed to the building that have fields clearly of coverage across the larger sort of sloping lawn of the place down to this fence.
all right. So I'm looking at it from sort of not casing it, but examining it for 3 people disappeared. Like what are likely exit points, and it really looks pretty secure to me. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm a little confused as to how they could slip out.
that is an accurate assessment. That the fence is like 2.5 meter high, has these sort of pikes on it, but then also you see it has like inverted anti-climbing hooks on the inside as well, and the basis of the sort of motion sensors and the cameras, the lights, like the guards who were clearly are only manning the gatehouse certain times, but it seems like the security here is decent. And you see that the windows look pretty solid. None of the windows appear to be open on the building, so you might expect that they would be sort of locked or secure in some way. But you pull up to the middle prong of the E, and there's the double sort of grand arch, and you can see that this must have been. It clearly wasn't. It's a repurposed building. Like I said, at least a century old, and it almost has a feel of a school, one of those buildings that's been converted from a school, and you'd almost expect to look up and see the lettering for whatever institution used to be, but it's been covered up or redecorated at least, and now it just says Dorchester House on it. And after a moment, the doors open. The cab is, you've gotten out of the cab and are waiting, and a woman steps out of the front door, and she introduces herself. She says, Mr. Travern? I'm head nurse Samajina, Esther. I'm Esther. It's good to meet you, and your friends, your colleagues.
Nice to meet you. And then I let each of them introduce themselves. I don't, like, I use my real name, but I leave it up to them to how they'll introduce themselves.
And I'll show this to you. This is sort of at the entryway, the parking lot. I know I sort of guessed at this, but you get the impression. Yeah, how do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, use my real name, I guess.
Willow, great. And Jacob, do you use your real name? Sure, fine. Jacob. Okay, great. Dr. Dahlin has cleared his morning for you, so I can get you up there to his office to see him. And she goes back up to the door, and you see that she has this key card on a sort of extending device, right off her belt, and she sort of zips it out and swipes it in a key card reader at the door. And there's and a click to the door, and she pulls it open and holds it for you to go inside.
Okay.
All right, we'll go inside. Or I'll go inside.
Yep. So you head in, and you see that there is right inside sort of an entryway that is very nice. Like it's a sort of lobby feel to it. It must have been sort of one of the sort of larger corridors to whatever building or institution this was previously. And there are a number of sort of photos on the walls and awards. And she leads you down and brings you to an elevator, and does a card reader on the elevator. The door opens. She brings you in and brings you up to the second floor. And let's just see here. Okay.
I'd thought that was a sound effect you were playing, but it was just a very loud car going by.
Yeah, it was.
was a
I
car?
know.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, that was dramatic.
I thought so. Yeah, I could hear it. Yeah.
Oh, actually, so when Nurse Samajina brings you inside, there is a front desk there and an orderly waiting, and she asks, she says, if you could each sign in here, and you'll need to surrender any firearms or any weapons you have, and you see there's a secure set of secured lockers in this atrium area
Hmm.
that seem pretty advanced. Like there are um, key cards for these, or card readers for these.
So
Right.
again, the sense that there's like pretty advanced security
Yep.
throughout. Okay.
Jack, are you carrying?
Oh yeah. Are there any
Oh
obvious?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are there any like the metal detector, obvious metal detector, and
Yeah. So it doesn't seem as if there are any obvious metal detectors here.
all right. So I hand over, I guess the one that's in my holster at my hip.
Yep. And that leaves you with a holdout weapon.
Yeah, like typical like ankle.
Ankle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, the orderly and the nurse. The nurse actually she introduces. She says, "This is orderly. This is Gail Houston. She'll be able to help you with the key card for the locker." And so there's you look inside. There's a place you sort of put your weapon, and or the orderly swipes a card, swipes it again. There's a green light that beeps on it, and then she writes your name, Travern, in Sharpie on the card, and then hands it to you. And Nurse Samajina says, "Oh, yeah, the card. So, Mr. Travern, the card will open your locker. This is also Dr. Dolan has asked that you have each of you has one of these for the emergency doors and common areas. Of course, not for secure rooms, but and the nurse does up 2 additional key cards for Willow and Jacob, also with your names on them, Willow, Jacob."
Okay.
And then Nurse Samajina leads you over to that elevator, and she leads you up to the 3rd floor. And I think we'll go ahead and pause there. We'll leave the introduction to Dr. Dolan for next time. Although, maybe we'll do this. We'll say that you head up to the 3rd floor. The elevator dings. Ding, you get out, and there's a small area where this is clearly there's a corridor that has a secure door, like a very heavy door. That you can see there's a window to what appears to be a nurse's station on the inside. The door is clearly locked, and then there's another set of doors that Nurse Samajina leads you to, and she knocks, and on the door there's a brass plaque that says Dr. Richard Dolan, and she opens it, and you notice right across from the door there's this beautiful set of windows, and the office clearly faces east and has this beautiful sweeping view of the Neponset River. And the room itself, it looks like a classic English study with this wood floor, a beautiful stone fireplace, and with the exception of these walls that have the windows, and even then there's sort of low bookshelves. There are books all around. And it seems odd though that the desk that's in there is almost comically thin and like this wooden writing desk of French design. It's like this tiny little thing with this enormous chair because it's a very the man's sort of sitting in the chair is this large man, like tall, and he stands up and this is Dr. Richard Dolan, and you recognize him. It's been a while.
Agent Marcus? No. He looks like Agent Marcus.
You remember him looking as he does now. But at the time, he was wearing something very different. He was wearing a Red Sox jacket at the time, and counting on his fingers, and wandering the night floors of the McAllister building.
So did he look the same? Sorry, did you say he looked the same age or
The exact
older?
same age.
Exact same age.
So we'll leave it there for now.
And then sometimes things become possible if we want them bad enough. I don't know if that's a little weird for like a place like that seems a little weird to me, but maybe not.
So
Not
right.
in context of, wishing for doors and stuff like that. so.
Yeah.
You so let me actually see. So Willow, you
I'm very sane, if that's what you're
you're
asking.
incredibly sane.
Incredibly sane.
This is going to be very convenient because we'll just leave you there.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we're
yeah.
already here. I mean,
Already
what is it
so
to
good.
walk me down the hall? Really? Just.
So Willow, make me a what type of?
Whatever you like. What do you feel like?
No, actually, maybe not.
How about a
Let's see, there's
charisma?
a photography, art. No, you're right. The quote. I was just checking. None of you have. None of you recognize that quote. That's all I was going to say.
I have geology, if that helps.
Your time will come.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Exactly. Excellent. Well, we'll
Ooh.
break for there with the reveal that again, more things connected. 20 years doesn't
Thank
seem
you,
so
Bob.
far. Yeah, thank you guys. Getting back in the rhythm of things. Looking forward
No,
to
it's great.
exploring the
Yeah,
Dorchester
thank
House
you.
with you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.